What is going on, CHWA Nation? It is ring announcer Dilly here, and we are here once again with another radio recap. It's coming in a little late, but that's okay. Everything should be all fine and dandy. But we're going to talk about this most recent Thursday night throwdown taping. Let y'all know what happened during the show, and everything that you're going to be looking forward to tomorrow, because this should be going up Saturday, the day before the pay-per-view of From the Ashes. So going to be filling you in of what's going on, what happened at the last show, and what you might be seeing at the next show. And unfortunately, I am solo today. My partner, my co-host, Mr. True Exodus, Mr. Chris Exodus, unable to be here, but that's okay. So we're going to ride a little solo today. And hopefully I don't mess it up too bad. But anyway, let's get right into it. So Thursday Night Throwdown, the taping started, and ring announcer Dilly, myself, started to open the show, and music automatically played that I haven't heard before. And lo and behold, Godfather comes out of the curtain and, is really hot and heavy, because if you've been following our social media on Facebook at Cottage Hills Wrestling Alliance, you would know that the New Foundation decided to attack Godfather after the show of the previous Thursday Night Throwdown taping. And Godfather was all taped up and ready for a fight, so he calls out the New Foundation, and New Foundation with the GM Vicious Victoria comes out to accept the challenge. They surround the ring. Mizoku, Angelo Grimsley, Vicious Victoria, Dean Roberts, Sid Manson all surround Godfather around the ring, and right about the time that they decided they want to maybe get in the ring, Dragon's Guild, Buff and Brave, and Sophia Sombra all come out and save Godfather. Kind of pull them all off the ring, and Godfather decides at From the Ashes, Sophia Sombra would take on Vicious Victoria. Made that match right then and there, because Sophia had accepted the challenge to Vicious Victoria, but nothing was quite set in stone, so Godfather decided to make it set in stone. From the Ashes, Sophia Sombra will defend her international title against Vicious Victoria. And he figured that since Dragon's Guild and Buff and Brave weren't booked just yet for the show From the Ashes, that he would make an 8-man tag between Dragon's Guild, Buff and Brave, and the New Foundation, more specifically the members Angelo Grimsley, Drew Carter, Sid Manson, and Dean Roberts. So that is a match that you will be looking forward to at From the Ashes, is an 8-man tag, and the international title up for grabs. Now, after Godfather decided that he was, done with everything that was going on, he figured, for tonight, he was done and over with it, and so he let everybody know, let's take out the trash. Dragon's Guild, Buff and Brave, Sophia Sombra all go after all the New Foundation members, including GM Vicious Victoria, and they all start fighting. So much so that members of the New Foundation grab Elride, throw him into the ring, and members Dragon's Guild and Buff and Brave grab Sid Manson, throw him into the ring. Right as they're both in the ring, Jeremy the ref comes out and says, "Ring the bell," and our show begins with the first match between Elride and Sid Manson. Now, Sid Manson is a hell of a wrestler, but he is no Elride. And, they start off exchanging blows, or more specifically headbutts. Not the smartest move for Sid Manson. Elride's headbutts are nasty. And so they continue to wrestle, and Sid Manson gets thrown out of the ring. Next thing you know, Elride says, "Hey, you guys are going to be over there? I think I should be over there." He hits the ropes and dives after, lands on Sid Manson and Dean Roberts. decides, you know what? No, we ain't done with this. Picks him back up, throws him in the ring, and little interesting thing happened at this in this match. Sid Manson, you know, getting a little tired of how things are going, and uh, Elride had a hold of him. He managed to get a rope break. Comes undone. He slips out of the ring and starts hearing somebody talking a lot of smack. Well, the person that he heard talking a lot of smack was a dummy. Super Bob, the fiercest white belt, if I'm not mistaken. And so Sid Manson decides to tackle Super Bob and starts giving Super Bob the business. And all New Foundation and Dragon's Guild and Buff and Brave can do is look in sheer confusion. Dean Roberts eventually pulls him off and throws him back in the ring, and Elride sitting there waiting, starts attacking him a little bit more. Sid Manson getting a little bit of offense here and there. Chris Exodus tries getting a little bit of shoeserweight stuff in there, but doesn't quite work. Elride manages to unfortunately get caught in an RKO, I believe is what it is, from Sid Manson. And in the process, I guess he just couldn't get it done. Goes for the pin. Elride kicks out, and as Elride goes to get up, he kicks Sid in the face. Bam! Sid lays there, and Elride goes for what he calls the Circle of Life, the 450. Hits it. Pins Sid. 1, 2, 3. Winner of this match is Elride over Sid Manson. Heck of a match to start our show with, and Dragons Guild partner Chris Exodus, my co-host, goes in to pick up Elride, let him celebrate. Maddie Exodus, Sophia Sombra, Ashton Alexander, all standing on the side of the ring, making sure he's okay as New Foundation clears out. But yeah, that was our opening match. As we go into our second match was one of the 4 members of New Foundation for that night, Dean Roberts, and he got the unfortunate pleasure for him to wrestle Ashton Alexander, the Buff of Buff and Brave. And Ashton Alexander has been one of the fiercest women competitors. And you know what? I take that back. She has been one of the fiercest competitors, not just one of the women. She is one of the fiercest competitors in CHWA, so much so that she's a former women's division champion. She is not one to be messed with. But Dean Roberts knows that and has Angelo Grimsley and Sid Manson on his side of the ring, making sure that nothing goes wrong for him. But also, is really good at making things wrong for whoever happens to be in the ring. So this match kicks off, and Dean Roberts starts things off by giving Ashton Alexander a nice hip toss, something you don't see too often in not so much in wrestling, but regular Greco-Roman style wrestling. But Ashton Alexander quick to fight off of that and gets Dean Roberts in a leg scissor hold, I believe is what it's called. This is going to be so bad for everybody because ring announcer Dilly is terrible at knowing moves of wrestling. So if you want to see these matches, I highly recommend you go watch the Thursday Night Throwdown show that posted here on YouTube. But as I was saying, Dean Roberts tries to go for a clothesline. Ashton Alexander ducks it and makes him regret it by giving him a nice super kick to the face. But, Dean Roberts rolls out of the ring, gets away from it, gets checked on by Angelo Grimsley, all while Ashton Alexander just stays in the ring and waits for him. But Dean Roberts starts getting a little bit of offense on Ashton Alexander. tries getting away when she tries fighting back, get out of the ring, let Sid Manson and Angelo kind of hold her back while he rests up nice and easy. But sometimes that doesn't quite work because Sid Manson got a super kick to the face too from Ashlyn Alexander. Dean Roberts gets back in the ring, does a little bit more offense, gets her in a leg hold. She fights out of it, makes him regret it by giving him one back, flips him over, and Dean Roberts breaks the hold with the help of Sid Manson. I don't think the ref quite saw that one, but Ashlyn Alexander goes to climb on the top rope, trying to do something, and Dean comes up, says, "Nope, you ain't gonna do that," and hits her, tries to get her to flip, and she just pushes him back, just doesn't go for it. Ooh, man, this is one hell of a match. It really is between Dean and Ashlyn. You know, at one point, Jeremy the ref looks like he got knocked out. I don't exactly remember how, but he gets knocked out, comes back to whenever Dean's trying to give Ashlyn Alexander a face lock, trying to get her to tap out, but she just won't. He lets go and decides to yell at the crowd. Bad idea. Gave Ashlyn Alexander a perfect opportunity for a nice, what could be assumed to be a low blow, but I think she got him right in that inner thigh. No low blow at all. You know, not doing nothing that, you know, is cheating. But Dean Roberts tries to go through with some more offense and does a pretty good job of it, keeping Ashlyn Alexander on her toes. Then right as Dean's trying to get her to tap out, she hits Dean with an enziguri. Believe she tagged him right on his chin. Then hits her finisher. I'm not exactly for sure what that particular finisher is called. And if you got any questions, just go and watch the show. I really wish I had somebody here with me who knows wrestling more than I do. But Ashlyn Alexander hits her finisher on Dean Roberts. 1, 2, 3. Ashlyn Alexander is the winner of our second match of Thursday Night Throwdown. Whew, man. Need to get me something to drink. But Ashlyn Alexander, being the strong woman that she is, you know, took on the win, celebrated with Maddie Exodus. Sorry about that, folks. Needed to get me something to drink. But speaking of strong women, Radical Rick decides that he wants to come out again this week. Says he didn't get a good, you know, his plans didn't work with Sofia Sombra, you know, the week prior and the international title. And he says he's got a better idea, a smaller idea, you know, and challenges Maddie Exodus. Don't exactly know if he wanted maybe the Monarch title or if he wanted to be the XVW Women's Champion. But point is, he wants to challenge Maddie Exodus because he figured Maddie's smaller. Maddie's not nearly as fierce as Sofia Sombra. And he could not be more wrong. Maddie Exodus is not one to be trifled with. Maddie Exodus was the first women's division champion at CHWA. Holds the women's title at XVW in Dayton, Ohio, her hometown, and is the other half of the tag team Buff and Brave. She is the Brave of Buff and Brave, but no slouch as a wrestler. No slouch at all. Ashlyn Alexander may be the Buff, but that doesn't mean Maddie Exodus can't do a few things herself. So this match gets on its way. They start doing a little de-measuring contest, if you know what I mean, by seeing who gets the biggest cheers or you know, because you know Maddie gets cheers. Rick not so much. Rick is no good. But Maddie Exodus starting off this match a little strong, giving Rick some moves in the corners, jumping on him, making sure he knows that just because Maddie may be tiny, that don't mean she's not mighty. Gets him in the corner, gives him a few elbow strikes, goes over the top of the ring. Or what am I saying? She Radical Rick pushes her out of the corner. Says, "No, I'm done with this." Goes to hit the ropes, give her a clothesline, and she ducks it real nice and pretty. Just bends over backwards and gets him. Gives him a drop kick. He's starting to lean on the ropes, and Maddie Exodus comes around, almost like she's going to do the 618, but doesn't. Jumps on his back, then flips over the top ropes, goes over to the corner, comes in, and says, "Hey, guess what?" Kicks him right in the face. And then she decides to get up on the top rope as he's kind of stumbling back and forth, give him a couple knees to the face or chest, gives him a nice chop in the corner. She's just giving him the business. Rick goes to try and maybe roll her up after he's done with all of that. Doesn't really work. And these two just continue to fight. I wish I had the commentary skills and the color that Mr. Chris X has had right now, because I can tell I'm gonna lose my wording and everything. But Radical Rick continuing to fight in this match. Maddie Exodus giving him a few things. He throws Maddie out of the ring. Tries to kick her in the face, and she instead trips him up, makes him bust his own face on the side of the ring. Gives him a suplex and bounces his face off the mat a couple times. And as Rick is trying to come to and get his wits about him, he throws Maddie off the ropes. She comes up and puts him in the Black Widow submission hold. I do remember that one. Gets him in that hold, and next thing you know, Radical Rick is tapping out. 1, 2, 3. Maddie Exodus wins against Radical Rick. Still the XPW Women's Champion, still the Monarch still holds the Monarch title. But one thing that I didn't mention was, as this match is going on, a former CHWA agent decided to come out and watch the match, sit commentary and take notes. And after the match, Maddie Exodus and Ashton Alexander decide to leave, and as they're leaving, this agent, Mr. Johnson Van Johnson, comes up, tells Rick, "That was pathetic. How are you this terrible?" Says you're losing to women, you ain't got no respect no more, and basically tells him that he's no good and needs help. And Johnson Van Johnson is here to help Radical Rick, make him respected, make him great again, make him the wrestler that he used to be back in the old years. But there's a caveat to it. To make him great and respected again, Radical Rick has to go with Johnson Van Johnson. So he gives him the offer. Come with me and I'll make you great. Radical Rick snatches the mic out of Johnson Van Johnson's hand, says, "You promise me that I'm going to start being respected around here. I'm going to start earning gold. I'm going to be one of the best wrestlers in this entire company? Fine, I guess I'll go with you if that's what you're promising." Drops the mic, and Johnson Van Johnson and Radical Rick head off for the rest of the night. Don't know what we're gonna see at From the Ashes from Johnson Van Johnson and Radical Rick. I've been told by Chris Exodus that Johnson Van Johnson was one of the most hated agents at CHWA. And so with Radical Rick joining Johnson Van Johnson, I can't imagine what this is going to be like for the foreseeable future. But let's move on to more future of this particular Thursday night throwdown. Our next match is a singles match between one half of the Bayou Boys, Cousin Waylon, who was sporting some Easter wear this particular this particular Sunday show, as we've filmed it on Easter Sunday. So it looked like Cousin Waylon's alligator Alley was a little festive. Had some rabbit ears on, had an egg in its mouth, little Easter egg. But Bayou Boys is current CHWA Tag Team Champions, and this match was between Cousin Waylon and one half of Bulletproof, Mr. Sean Justice. Bulletproof and Bayou Boys have been going at it for the past month and a half now, and that's something you'll be seeing it from the ashes. Bulletproof versus the Bayou Boys for the CHWA Tag Team Champions. And tell you what, this match was a surprise. It really was. It started off nice and heavy. Sean Justice going after Waylon, trying to get him knocked down, because if you don't know, Cousin Waylon's a big boy, and Sean Justice is not a big boy like Waylon. So Sean Justice trying to get some offense, trying to take Waylon down on his knees, because that's the only way you get big boys like that down. Gets him in a headlock. Waylon gets out of it, rolls him up. Sean kicks out. Waylon starts giving him a couple headbutts. Headbutts him so hard that Sean Justice just rolls out of the ring. Stumbling around, he stands up and looks up and realizes Waylon's standing on the outside of the corner, and jumps. Gives him a sledgehammer or a hammer fist down on the head. Picks Sean Justice up and says, "All right, we want to play like this," and throws Sean Justice against the back ring post. Now, ladies and gents, I don't know if you've ever been near a wrestling ring or heard the wrestling ring, but those ring posts are solid steel. They ain't got no cushion on them. It's hard. And Sean Justice bashes his head right on the side of it. Goes down for a little bit. Waylon goes up to the ring to break the count, grabs him, goes back out, grabs him, and throws him back in the ring. Says, "No, we ain't doing like this." Then proceeds to headbutt him some more. Sean Justice kicks out of it, and you can see the effect of being hit, hitting a ring post on your head. It's not good. Waylon picks Sean Justice up for a stalling suplex, brings him down, goes for the pin. Sean Justice kicks out, and Waylon's like, "All right, well, let's end this." Goes to get on the corner, goes on the second rope, jumps, and Sean Justice moves out of the way, letting big old Cousin Waylon crash down in the middle of the ring. They both start to get up. Sean Justice gets up and sees Waylon up and goes for the RKO. Then, to make sure he's really done, hops off the rope and gives Waylon a couple curb stomps, as you will. Basically jumps on his back and smashes his head against the canvas. Sean Justice goes for the pin. 1, 2, 3. Sean Justice over Cousin Waylon. Like I said, this match was a surprise, because I would have never guessed that Sean Justice took out Cousin Waylon in such a manner. Cousin Waylon is no wrestler to be messed with. And speaking of no wrestlers to be messed with, the next part of our show Jeremy Lightfoot, the Native Nightmare, comes out and has a couple announcements to make in regards of From the Ashes. First, he greets the CHWA Nation, you guys, the crowd, wishes them a happy Easter. Then lets them know that at From the Ashes, he will be in a tag match against P.T. Beckham and the Butcher with a tag partner. Now Jeremy does a little house cleaning and tells everybody before he makes any more announcements in regards of his match. He's got merch coming in a couple coming soon. But I digress, and that's something for you guys. Pay attention. We got merch. The wrestlers got merch. Things you want to be on the lookout for. But Jeremy's in the ring talking about his match with P.T. Beckham and Damian Blade, and getting the crowd all ready for it. And then he goes, "Who wants to hear who my tag partner is going to be?" Crowd starts cheering. Jeremy goes, "Are you sure you want to hear who my tag partner is going to be?" Crowd's like, "Yeah, we want to know." And he goes, "You want me to tell you?" Or he's like, "Who wants to find out?" Everybody goes, "Yeah, we want to find out." And he goes, "Come back next week," and then walks off. Jeremy Lightfoot doesn't tell anybody who his tag partner is going to be. And I don't even know who it's going to be. I don't even think Chris Extis or Godfather. I don't think anyone knows except for Jeremy Lightfoot. Because I don't know if you were following our Facebook, but earlier this week, Jeremy got a contract that was already signed for the tag match. Jeremy signed it. And then earlier yesterday, after that video came out, we got another video of a mystery person signing a CHWA contract and then putting it in an envelope addressed to Lightfoot himself. Is this the mystery partner? Who knows? You got to make sure to be subscribed to patreon.com/CHWA. Be subscribed to that for life tier to watch the From the Ashes pay-per-view. Because if you ain't watching it on Patreon, the only place you're going to watch it is in the building at 127 West MacArthur Drive, Cottage Hills, Illinois, 62018. And trust me, the way this show is coming, you ain't going to want to miss either show. You're not going to want to miss it at the building, and you're definitely not going to want to miss it on Patreon. But that being said, Jeremy walks off and we start getting on to our next match. Our next match was a no-holds-bar ladder match for the rights to SWO. For those who don't know, SWO was a tag team formerly made up of Iorio the Juggalo, Radical Rick, and Ecronics. Now, Ecronics has since gone on to be the big bad Russian Equinox, and Radical Rick has been fighting women and losing. And Iorio has kind of been upset that SWO is gone, and so he challenged Equinox, the big bad Russian, to the rights because a couple months ago, Iorio challenged Radical Rick for the rights to SWO and won. But what Iorio didn't know was that Radical Rick did not have the actual rights to SWO, and that, in fact, Equinox did. And so Iorio the Juggalo challenged Equinox to a match. Didn't get any response. And so he came out this past Sunday and challenged him again in a no-holds-barred ladder match. And this time, the big bad Russian responded. Came out with a Russian saber. Means he wasn't messing around. He came out with a sword to face Iorio. That should tell you something. But this match gets on the way, and Iorio starts it off strong, giving Equinox the business. Coming in, giving a couple elbows, but Equinox just ain't taking it. Gives him a nice big boot to the face. Drops Iorio right on his back. Then proceeds to headbutt the hell out of Iorio. I don't know about you, but I don't want to be headbutted by some big bad Russian like Equinox. Especially if I was Iorio. Then he starts getting him in the corner, giving him a couple chops. Gives him a nice stalling suplex, I think a stalling suplex. Again, Dilly doesn't know wrestling, and it's showing hard. But Equinox decides, all right, it's now time for the fun stuff. Goes outside the ring, pulls out a chair from underneath the ring, walks in and gives Iorio a couple shots to the back. Then he gives him a nice shot to the head. Then he clotheslines Iorio out of the ring, and then stands in the center of the ring almost to salute his precious country. He then decides he's going to pick up the chair and go after Iorio. Goes around and sees that Iorio is nice and busted open. And I know the crowd was cheering already at this point because the crowd was crazy this night. Iorio starts bleeding, and the crowd goes, "Yeah, we want more blood! We want more blood!" And so Iorio fights off Equinox, gives him a couple chair shots, runs in, gives a dropping kick to his knee, and then gives a kick to the back of Equinox's head. Equinox, though, is a tough, literally big bad Russian. So the little kick to the back of the head ain't going to do nothing. Starts standing back up. But at this point, Iorio has grabbed his own chair. Now there's two chairs in the ring. And gives him a nice standing DDT to two chairs. Straight to Equinox's face. Goes for a pin. And the ref looks at him and goes, "What are you doing? There's no pins in this match. You gotta get the paperwork for the rights to SWO to win this match." And Iorio goes, "What? I thought this was a singles match." So he decides, all right, well let's keep this going. Goes to get on the top rope, but Equinox at that point has recovered a little and follows him up. Gives him a couple shots and then says, "All right, time to go night-night," and gives Iorio a superplex off the top rope onto two chairs. Now, for those of you who don't know, suplexes are pretty nasty, but a superplex is a suplex, but about 5-6 feet higher than when you started. So you're falling an extra 5-6 feet. So you're now going from 6 feet in the air to now 10-12 feet in the air and landing on two metal chairs. Not one, two. That is not comfortable. So Iorio rolls out of the ring and Equinox goes after him. Equinox grabs him by his hair and starts punching him in the head right in front of the crowd, letting him know, "I mean business." He says, "You know what? I think maybe it's time to start this actual ladder match." Goes under the ring, grabs the ladder, and starts climbing up towards the rights of SWO. But right as he's about to reach it, he sees Iorio coming up in the ring, trying to get him down, and Iorio goes to jump for the ladder, And Equinox jumps off the ladder, knowing, no, 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 I ain't having you push me over off this ladder. Iorio and Equinox continue to fight. Equinox grabs a chair, says, Iorio, I'm going to take you out. Iorio, being smart, says, nah. Kicks the chair right in Equinox's face, then goes for a pin once again, has forgotten that this is not a singles match, and that you in fact have to climb the ladder and claim the rights to SWO to win this match. Iorio decides to start setting up chairs, start setting up the ladder for a nice special move to Equinox. Sets up the ladder, climbs to the top rope, jumps off the ladder, and gives Equinox a leg drop from the top rope over the top of a ladder. Starts to climb the ladder for the rights of SWO. Equinox comes over, gets up, starts climbing the backside of the ladder. Grabs Iorio by the throat and says, "Nope, you're done." Gives him a nice big choke slam off the top of the ladder. Pushes the ladder out of the way, then grabs Iorio and gives him another suplex onto 2 chairs, making sure Iorio cannot get up from this match. Then, as Iorio's laying there, he puts the ladder on top of him, and Equinox gives him a nice big splash right on top of the ladder, squishing Iorio some, but unfortunately hurting himself in the process. It says, you know what, I'm not done. Puts the ladder back on Iorio, goes to get on the second rope, and as he's getting ready to say, I'm finishing this, Iorio throws the ladder at him, distracting him, gets him up, and tries to give him his own little suplex on top of the ladder, but fails, and Equinox pushes him off back into the chairs. Whew, I'm running out of breath. But Equinox still on the second rope, calls for the ending, gives a nice big dropping knee to Iorio's head. Unfortunately, that rolls him off to the side, and he's too hurt to go climb the ladder. Iorio manages to get up, gives Equinox a nice chair shot to the head. Equinox falls over, and Iorio finally realizes that this is a ladder match, grabs the ladder, and starts setting it up and climbing up. And whenever he looks down as he's getting ready to set this ladder up, he sees Equinox sitting there smiling at him. He got up from the chair shot and was perfectly fine. Iorio starts laying in a couple of shots to the head. Equinox drops down, and to make sure that everything is done and over with, Iorio sets up for a coffin drop off the top rope onto Equinox. Hits him once. Equinox is just laying there taking it. Iorio says, "No, we ain't done yet. We're gonna continue on with this." Sets up the chairs, puts Equinox on him, and goes to set up the ladder and do a coffin drop off the ladder. Coffin drops, falls a little short, lands right next to the chairs, but still manages to get a nice headbutt onto Equinox, knocking him a little crazy. But Iorio says, "No, I ain't done. I'm not through." Goes to the opposite side, gives Equinox another coffin drop. 3 coffin drops to make Equinox go down. Iorio throws the chairs out of the way, rolls Equinox over, sets the ladder on top of him, climbs the ladder, grabs the papers. Iorio the Juggalo, the winner and new owner to the rights of SWO. Now, at this point, I think we're going to take a small little break. Talk about a few things, or no, we'll take a little break here just for a quick second. Let you see the Patreon commercial. But if that's the case, we'll see you all in just a few moments. Hey, what is going on, CHWA Nation? This is ring announcer Dilly here, coming to you with a little short commercial. Wanted to talk about our Patreon, more specifically the For Life tier. You guys are going to want to go check that out because that is where our pay-per-views come and go. They don't come here to YouTube. They just go to Patreon. So I highly recommend going and checking out our Patreon. Go to the For Life tier. Trust me. That's where our pay-per-views, that's where our pay-per-views go. We're currently working on trying to get more content to our Patreon, but, this guy can only do so much. But, yeah, so, if you want to support us in any way, that is the way to do it. Go to our Patreon, patreon.com/CHWA, the For Life tier. More specifically, and yeah, so we're just gonna go ahead and get back into the action. Just wanted to make this little commercial, so I will see you all on Sundays or Thursdays for here on YouTube. Bye, guys. Okay, everybody. Whew. Hope you all didn't mind that little commercial. I know it only took a minute or two, but we are back, and just like we are back. The next thing that happened in this show was we had a little intermission, and we came back with a banger of a match. And I wish my co-host was here with me today for it, because the next match in our show was Angelo Grimsley versus Chris Exodus. A little bit of backstory. Angelo Grimsley is the reason Chris Exodus had a punctured lung, the lung father, half a lung, one lung, whatever you want to call it. Chris Exodus got put in life-threatening injuries, all because of Angelo Grimsley. And while they've had tag team matches against each other, I think this is the first time in a while, if I'm not mistaken, that Chris Exodus has faced off against the man, or at least one of the men, who is responsible for his trip to the hospital. And the match was a banger to start off with. Chris Exodus and Angelo Grimsley trading blows back and forth in the center of the ring. Angelo Grimsley getting him into the corner, giving him a little bit of business, and then Chris Exodus says, "Nope, we're not doing this," and gives him a couple kicks straight to the chest. Boom. Right in the center. And I'll tell you what, those kicks are nasty. But Chris Exodus continuing to give him some of the business, all while Dean Roberts and Sid Manson sit sideline watching their leader take on someone like Chris Exodus. One point, Chris Exodus looks over and says, "No more kiddies," and drops a couple legs in the southern region, but he might have got hit in the stomach. We don't know for sure yet. But Chris man, whew. I took a break and I'm still out of breath. Chris Exodus goes in for a leg lock on Angelo Grimsley, and Angelo Grimsley decides, figures out how to do it, gives Chris Exodus a little kick to the back himself, and then gives him a nice little, I won't want to say modified super kick to the face, and Chris Exodus goes rolling out the ring while Angelo Grimsley gets a nice little breather. Chris Exodus, lying on the outside of the ring with Dean and Sid watching over him. Angelo Grimsley winds up to get ready to jump out of the ring, hits the back rope, goes to wind up, and plops right down and tells Chris Exodus he's number one twice. If you watch the show and you've heard Godfather and Dynamite Dave talking, you know what exactly that means. Chris Exodus gets up and gives Angelo a little clap of applause and gets back in the ring. And Angelo Grimsley says, "You know what? Let's test our strengths. See who's stronger." Chris Exodus is totally stronger than Angelo Grimsley. I'm just saying. But anyway, do a little test of strength, and I apparently lied because Angelo Grimsley decided to is stronger and wrenches on Chris Exodus and his arms and pulls back and gives him a couple kicks to the chest again. Says, yep, this is what we're going to do. Then runs over to the corner, comes in, and gives him a nice drop kick to the face. Then Angelo Grimsley says, "You know what? I'm tired of your leg locks. I'm tired of it. It's time you got in one." And so Chris Exodus, Angelo Grimsley gives Chris Exodus a leg lock, and Chris Exodus, being Chris Exodus, looks over to the crowd and says, "Hey, Peggy Minder, want to know how you get out of this?" And he's like, "Oh, he's like, you want to know how you get out of this?" He goes, "Stand up." And Chris Exodus stands up on Angelo Grimsley and gives him a nice kick to the face, let him know, like, "Hey, you don't. I could have got out of this at any point." Then Chris Exodus goes to grabs Angelo Grimsley's hand as almost to mirror Angelo Grimsley, because Angelo Grimsley likes to grab people's fingers and snap them. But Chris Exodus looks down and says, "Nope, that's not what we're doing," and throws him out of the ring instead. As he's out of the ring, Chris Exodus looks over, jumps over the top rope, and right as Angelo Grimsley turns around, Angelo Grimsley meets Chris Exodus's knee. Whew. Sorry, everybody. This is Winding. Try to talk. I don't know how Chris Exodus does this, but with Chris Exodus and Angelo Grimsley outside the ring, they trade a couple blows, and Angelo manages to throw Chris Exodus into the crowd, and Chris Exodus recovers and immediately jumps back over. Whenever he jumps back over, Angelo Grimsley tries to give him a super kick and misses, and Chris Exodus catches it and tells him, "Well, that didn't work." Slaps him right on the chest, and then they decide to trade a couple blows of elbows. Get back into the ring and continue to wrestle. Angelo and Chris getting a little offense and defense in on both sides. Whew. See, this is where my co-host would help. But as they're fighting, Angelo Grimsley is down, and Chris Exodus tries to, they're like, what are you doing? And unfortunately, Jeremy the ref had to be standing behind him, and Angelo pushes Chris Exodus into Jeremy the ref, knocking him down. Angelo Grimsley picks Chris Exodus, gives him the acid rain. I believe it's called the acid rainmaker. Believe is what it's called. Do not quote me on that. Again, I am terrible at wrestling lingo. But gives him the finisher. Ref goes, "Oh, wait. Counts 1, 2, and as he goes for the third pin, Chris Exodus kicks out. As he's standing back up, Angelo Grimsley gives Exodus a nice super kick to the face. Goes for the pin, 1, 2, and Chris Exodus kicks out. Goes in for a triangle choke, 2. Make sure that he's not going anywhere. But Angelo Grimsley, being the ever resilient one, picks Chris Exodus up and slams him on the mat. Unfortunately, Chris Exodus still or unfortunately for Angelo, Chris Exodus still has the triangle choke locked in, gives him a couple elbows to the top of the head, and Sid Manson and Dean Roberts help Angelo Grimsley out and pull him out of the ring. Angelo sitting on the side of the ring, deciding to catch his breath, as well as Exodus trying to catch his breath in the center of the ring, just like I need to do. But Angelo Grimsley starts coming back in the ring, and almost as a few weeks ago when they faced off earlier in a tag match, Chris Exodus and Angelo Grimsley standing at the outside of the ring of each other. They both jump in at the same time, give each other a clothesline, and both go down. Angelo Grimsley being checked on by the ref, and Sid Manson and Dean Roberts pull Chris Exodus out and start beating the crap out of him outside of the ring. The ref looks up and goes, "Where'd Chris Exodus go?" Starts needs to start counting. Then Dean Roberts pulls the ref aside and goes, "No, come talk to me." And Sid Manson continues to beat on Chris Exodus outside the ring, so much so that he picks him up and throws him against the ring post, then walks clear off. At that point, Jeremy, the ref, realizes what's going on and realizes that Chris Exodus is outside the ring and starts counting. Gets to 6 or 7, and Angelo Grimsley is like, "You know what? I'm tired of waiting. Come back in here," and throws Chris Exodus in the ring and puts him in what I believe is a guillotine choke. Chris Exodus starts going to sleep, and Jeremy, the ref, checks on him, does the test, pulls his hand up, falls immediately down. Pulls it up again for the second time, falls immediately down. Grabs it for the third time, drops it, and it goes halfway. Chris Exodus wakes up, goes into a fiery passion, throws Angelo Grimsley into the corner, then gives him a nice it's not a suplex. I don't remember what that's called, but basically picks him up for a suplex, but then rolls him under like he's not going to go fully up. Angelo Grimsley gets up, gets a little offense on Chris Exodus, goes for the acid rainmaker. Chris Exodus, seeing it coming, goes and ducks it. Angelo Grimsley falls backwards, and in the process, Dean Roberts grabs him and drags him out of the ring to let him catch his breath. But unfortunately for him, Chris Exodus is also catching his breath. So Chris Exodus runs out of the ring, sees Angelo Grimsley still sitting on the side, and says, "You know what? This looks like a nice place for my knee." Smacks him right in the side of the face with a nice running knee. Throws Angelo Grimsley back into the ring, and gives Angelo a DDT, I believe. But Angelo was on his knees at the time, so really wrenching his neck. Angelo flopping around, trying to, really hurting Chris Exodus. Looks at him and goes, "Ref, check him. I think he's hurt. Check him." And right as the ref is, calling Chris Exodus to come over and check things out, Angelo Grimsley hits Chris Exodus with a low blow, drops him straight down to his knees. And as a mirror from earlier, of what Chris Exodus did, grabs the fingers as if he's going to snap them and says, "Nope, that's not what I'm going to do," and instead goes for an armbar on Chris Exodus. Chris Exodus sits there, flails around, finally gets loose, goes for a roll-up pin. Angelo Grimsley kicks out of it. Angelo Grimsley stands up, getting ready to hit Chris Exodus with another acid rainmaker. Chris Exodus ducks it, goes to the second rope, and Starlight Kick. Hits Angelo Grimsley, goes for the pin. 1, 2, 3. Chris Exodus over. on Angelo Grimsley. Chris Exodus showing good sportsmanship, pulls Angelo Grimsley up and sticks out a hand. Not in friendship, but as a mutual respect of wrestlers. Angelo Grimsley goes to shake Chris Exodus' hand and instead dips out, rolls out of the ring, and goes to the back, escorted by Dean Roberts and Sid Manson. All while Chris Exodus sits there and just slowly applauds Angelo Grimsley. Now we move on to our next thing. Because we're not quite yet at the co-main event. We're close. We're one little detail off. And one little detail that is not so little, the Parasite. Parasite came out because he needed to address the crowd. Came out and started talking that he loves hearing the people cheer for him. He loves knowing that, especially when people are considered him a villain of the story. Goes on to say that everybody is villains in somebody else's story. Points to the crowd, you're a villain in somebody else's story, you're a villain in somebody else's story. Chris Exodus is a villain in somebody else's story. Esau Crane is a villain in somebody else's story. And calls out the Mizoku. And I'm not exactly sure why he did that. But he calls out Mizoku. Mizoku comes out and he's wearing the Parasite mask around his neck. Ooh, excuse me. The Parasite starts egging him on, telling him to come up to the ring, come up on the mat. Then as Mizoku gets close, he realizes that he can't exactly get on the mat. He says, and Parasite says, he's got a force that will not allow Mizoku to get on the mat. As he's sitting there talking to Mizoku, pulls out a little vial and says, "This is an antidote. Something to make Mizoku better." It says if he drinks it, he'll become so strong nobody in the back will be able to stop him. But he wonders what happens when a demon drinks it. And so Parasite promises that Mizoku will drink this from the ashes. He's going to make him drink it. And so he continues to egg on Mizoku to come into the ring and come on the mats and shakes the little vial of anti-serum, as one would call it, at Mizoku, and Mizoku struggles to cross the barrier. Can't. Several minutes of Parasite egging Mizoku on to come through, and Mizoku not being able to. Parasite finally goes out to address Mizoku and grabs the vial of anti-serum. Walks straight up to Mizoku and drinks the anti-serum. They stare down at each other. Mizoku takes the Parasite mask and breathes deeply in, almost as if it's intoxicating to him. Mizoku leaves, and Parasite turns to face the camera and leaves himself. Who knows what's going to happen between those two at From the Ashes, but those two are also scheduled to fight at From the Ashes. Like I said, this From the Ashes show tomorrow is going to be a good one. You are not going to want to miss this. And Another match that you will be seeing from the Ashes. We got a little hint at our co-main event. Our co-main event of this last Thursday night throwdown taping was Harlock Cross, your current CHWA United States champion, against Chameleon. Now, Harlock will not be facing Chameleon at From the Ashes, but he will be facing the Voodoo King. Now, the Voodoo King was on commentary for this match. And this match was odd, to say the least. But odd is not the word. It's whimsical. At the beginning of this match, Chameleon came out because he realized that he's booked to wrestle, but I don't think he quite realized who he was booked against. Because Chameleon's celebrating, having a good time, gets to get in the ring and looks and sees who he's facing and realizes, I have to wrestle him, and decides to go hide under the ring. Harlock, not dealing with it, asks our camera girl Raz to go get Chameleon, and hilarity ensues. Raz isn't able to get Chameleon out of the ring, and instead Chameleon drags them under the ring. Jeremy, the ref, goes to help out Raz and pull them out of the ring, and then gets dragged under himself. Harlock still in the ring trying to figure out what's going on. Chameleon gets dragged out by Raz and Jeremy, the ref, and does not want to go in. In fact, grabs Raz's hand, tags her in. You're wrestling, Harlock. And Raz goes, nope, that's not happening. Drags Chameleon back out and yells at him. Tags him and says, tag, no tag backs. You're in. You're wrestling, Harlock. And so Jeremy, the ref, gets in, starts the match. Harlock immediately goes to Chameleon. He goes, you done? And Chameleon jumps out of the ring. Chameleon tries tagging me in, but doesn't. And then the match finally gets started. Chameleon and Harlock go to do a strength test. Chameleon punches Harlock in the gut. Harlock punches Chameleon, and Chameleon tries running off, but doesn't realize Harlock still has a hold of his hand. Then Harlock grabs Chameleon's hand and starts dancing to try and distract Chameleon, and it works. Then immediately kicks him, and Chameleon goes down. Harlock starts yelling at Chameleon to knock it off. This is a match. Need to take this seriously. And Chameleon decides to take a little bit of serious, giving Harlock some elbows, give it a little offense. Knocks him down at one point, tries to drag him into the center of the ring. Big mistake for Chameleon. Harlock winds up and pushes him back into the corner. And Harlock kind of stands there going, all right, I need a second, because this is ridiculous. Chameleon goes to try and hide on the ropes like he has done before. Harlock, not falling for it, grabs him and kicks him, and then starts pinning his neck against the ropes. Harlock goes to pick up Chameleon. Chameleon starts back and gives Harlock a nice headbutt. And Harlock's head it's not soft. It's too hard. So Chameleon knocks himself out while also knocking out Harlock for a little bit. Chameleon starts cheering up the crowd to run after Harlock. Harlock gives him a nice clothesline. Chameleon goes down. Harlock goes for the pin. 1, 2. Kicks out. Chameleon survives. Harlock goes to give Chameleon a drop kick to the knees, drops Chameleon down. Then, in an act that I haven't seen from Harlock climbs the ropes, standing on the second rope. Chameleon gets up, looks over, and Harlock jumps for a splash to a standing Chameleon. And Harlock is no small man. Harlock is a big boy. Chameleon tries his best. Unfortunately, couldn't get out of the way, and Harlock lays there, and Chameleon lays there for a while. Harlock decides to give Chameleon a couple elbows. Sorry. Ooh, this is a lot of talking. Gives Chameleon a headbutt to the chest. Kind of Harlock gives himself a little doozy with that one. Chameleon and Harlock both fall down. Harlock on top of Chameleon with another headbutt on his back. Chameleon says, "Oh no, not again!" And they both lay there. Chameleon starts getting a little bit of offense with Harlock. Goes to climb the top rope and jumps over the top of him in almost a somersault fashion, pulling Harlock over. Harlock goes for the pin. 1-2. Harlock kicks out. Harlock and Chameleon stand back up, and Harlock starts giving Chameleon a couple more headbutts. Chameleon falls down, and Harlock being getting hit in the head too many times, doesn't go for the pin and falls down. As both Harlock and Chameleon are laying there, Voodoo King, who has been sitting at commentary this whole time, checking out his opponent for From the Ashes, decides, I'm going to go up and start casting some voodoo magic on Harlock. Harlock stands there going, what is going on? Unbeknownst to him, he doesn't see that Chameleon has gotten back up, comes over, grabs Harlock, rolls him up. 1, 2, 3. Chameleon beats Harlock in a non-title match. Chameleon wins over Harlock. Harlock, in such amazement and anger, comes over, grabs Voodoo, and Voodoo King and Harlock start fighting, start brawling. Security comes in to break them up, but it doesn't quite work. Some of the guys and girls from the back start coming to help keep Voodoo and Harlock separated, because if you have not been following our Facebook, Harlock attacked Voodoo in the locker room a couple weeks ago, and these two have been going at it nonstop. The boys in the security team try to keep Harlock and Voodoo separated as best they can, but Harlock pushes everybody off several times, and eventually it all clears up, and Harlock is escorted to the back. Now it is time for the main event. The main event for Thursday Night Throwdown this particular week. This Easter Sunday was a tag match between Aleister Crowe and Chris Valiant against Damian Blackwell and your current CHWA heavyweight champion, Chaos Jester. Chaos Jester and Damian Blackwell show mutual respect for each other this entire time, as even though Damian was the heavyweight champion, Chaos Jester was the owner of the Golden Opportunity briefcase and promised that he would not cash in on Damian, and he kept to his word. He cashed in on Sean Valiant, and this week, Sean Valiant and Aleister Crowe tagging up against Chaos and Damian, and boy, was it a great match. Match starts off with Chaos Jester and Sean Valiant in the center of the ring. Chaos and Sean circle around the ring a couple times, and Sean goes, "Nope, I'm done with it. I don't want to do this no more," and tags in Aleister Crow. Aleister Crow, no stranger to Chaos Jester or Damian Blackwell in this particular match. So Aleister Crow and Chaos Jester start circling the ring. Halo, the wonderful, beautiful Halo Blackwell sitting on the side along with little Chaos. Chaos Jester says, "Let's do a strength of test." Aleister Crow goes for it and tries his best to get Aleister Crow to bend, but to no avail. Aleister Crow takes the opportunity, kicks Chaos right in the stomach, grabs him down, and then decides to take him over to the ropes and choke him on the ropes for a little bit. Unfortunately, at that time, Sean Valiant decides he's going to grab the ref, and that gives enough distraction for Aleister Crow for Chaos to flip it and make Crow choke on the ropes a little bit. Chaos comes back a couple boots to Crow's face, then goes for an arm bar, make Aleister Crow tap. Sean Valiant tries to break up the tag, tries to break up the submission, but to no avail. That gives enough time though for Crow to put the foot on the rope and break the hold. Chaos Jester brings Aleister Crow back into the ring, and goes to tag in Damian. Damian comes in, starts giving the business to Crow, gives him a couple boots, jumps off the ring and gives him a nice big leg drop to the neck. That's no good. I know Damian is a big boy. He is 350 pounds, if I'm not mistaken, and I don't want any part of any of that weight jumping onto my neck. Damian gives Crow another leg drop, and at that point, Sean Valiant's like, no, this is a bunch of crap, and tries, jumps in. Unfortunately, whenever he jumps in, Chaos Jester decides to match him, and Chaos Jester and Damian Blackwell throw Sean Valiant out of the ring. Now goes back to Damian and Crow wrestling in the ring. Crow throws a couple uppercuts to Damian, knocks him down. Aleister Crow sees Damian on his butt and runs over and gives him a nice butt bump to the face. Goes over, tags Sean Valiant in, and Sean Valiant starts working the corner with Damian Blackwell, giving him some stomps to the chest. Ref basically, ref telling him to stop, and Sean telling him why. I got till 5. Damian stands up, and Damian and Sean start trading blows. Damian throws Sean Valiant into the corner next to Chaos. Tags in Chaos, and Chaos and Damian start doing some work on Sean. Chaos kicks Sean right in the side, and then comes up and gives him a nice drop kick to the back of the neck. Goes for the pin, 1, and Sean kicks out at 1. And I tell you, this match was crazy. All 4 of these guys have recently been in the main event picture. Damian Blackwell facing Aleister Crow here in, for the past couple months, considering what haul he's done. Sean Valiant, obviously the previous CHWA heavyweight champion, unfortunately beating Damian Blackwell, regardless if Chaos Jester cashed in on Sean Valiant. And so you have 3 former heavyweight champions and Aleister Crow, who made Damian's life a living hell for the longest time, all in the center of the ring. So there's a lot of animosity between all of these gentlemen. But Damian getting some work on Aleister Crow. Uh-oh, that's not good. Starting to get the hiccups in the middle of this show. But yeah, Damian getting some offense, trying to damage Aleister Crow's arm, make it to where he has to tag in Sean Valiant. Aleister Crow, though, fighting back, turns it around, gives Damian a couple uppercuts, and goes for a DDT on Damian Blackwell. Goes over, tags in Sean Valiant. Sean Valiant starts laying in a couple shots at Damian. Goes to throw a clothesline, misses, and on the way back, gives Damien a drop kick. Chaos Jester tags in with Damien, and Chaos Jester and Sean Valiant start trading blows, giving a couple hammer fists to the back of the neck. Chaos to Sean, then does a move that I have. See, this is what happens whenever you leave Dilly alone. There's things going on that just does not know. Chaos hits Sean with something where he grabs his neck. Again, you gotta watch the show. It's on YouTube. How have you not watched it yet? It literally came out 2 days ago. Go watch this if you want to see a great match without me butchering any part of it. Chaos Jester goes to suplex Sean Valiant. Sean Valiant tags in Aleister Crow on the way up, saying, "No, I'm kind of done with this." Crow gets Chaos, knocks him in the back of the neck, and throws Chaos, or puts Chaos on the outside of the ring, and goes for that famous standing DDT on the ring rope. Chaos fighting back, gets back in the ring, bounces off the rope, and goes for a flying knee to Aleister Crow's face. Drags him down to the center of the ring, throws him almost to the other side of the corner, and proceeds to stomp on Aleister Crow's arms, or at least one of them, making sure he can't do nothing. Crow tries fighting out of it, but Chaos continues to stomp him around. Aleister Crow finally recovers, stands up, and gives a big flying kick to Chaos's face. Goes for the pin. 1, 2. Chaos kicks out at 2. Aleister Crow starting to get a little bit of momentum back. Goes to suplex Chaos and lands it. Chaos stands back up and in the process tags in Damien, then goes over and says, "You know what? You're done, Mr. Valiant," and gives him a nice elbow to the chest. Then comes over and jumps off on top of Damien for a crossbody. Damien runs out, comes back, and gives Crow a nice clothesline splash into the corner. Crow sitting in the center of the ring. Damien seemed to be hurting on his knee and jumps up and gives him a nice big frog splash. And like I said earlier, that's a big boy falling down on top of you. 350 pounds. No, sir, don't want it. Goes for the pin. 1, 2. Sean Valiant comes in and breaks up the pin. Damien starts going in and looks to be choking Aleister Crow. Gets up, notice that Sean Valiant is yelling at him, so Damien goes over to yell back at him. Aleister Crow comes over and hits a low blow on the knee, starts taking out Damien Blackwell at the knee, tags in Sean Valiant. Sean Valiant comes in, and as Aleister Crow's working on that knee, Sean Valiant is stomping on Damien Blackwell from the other side. Damien tries to get up. Sean Valiant starts trading in a couple blows to Damien's face, which it's not good. Sean Valiant has one of the nastiest hits in this entire company. Throws Damien into the center of the ring and says, "You know what? I'm tired of you doing it. It's now my turn." Goes to the second rope and gives Damien Blackwell a nice frog splash. Goes for the pin, doesn't get it. Damien kicks out and says, "Nope, not doing this." Jumps off the rope and gives him a nice flying kick to the face. Damien's really starting to get the business. Sean Valiant continuing to stomping around, but whenever Sean's not paying attention, Damien looks over and kicks Sean right in the knee. Sean Valiant and Damien tag their respective partners. Chaos comes in and kicks Aleister Crow in the head, puts him in the corner, climbs on up, and tells everybody start counting with him. Gets 10 hits in Aleister Crow's head, then decides, all right, let's go, and then drags him out the corner straight to the face. Running Bulldog goes for the armbar again at that point. Ooh, man, I'm going to be talking a lot, but picks him up, continues to work on that arm, wrapping it around the ring, the ropes. But Crow, being ever resilient, gets Chaos out of it, or gets out of it. Chaos decides to go for a suplex, but instead Crow backs him up into the corner, starts working on him, and hold him down. And what the ref doesn't see is Sean Valiant standing over there, holding him around the neck. Aleister Crow tags in Sean Valiant. Sean Valiant starts hitting Chaos in the chest with a couple of those hammer fists. Kicks him several times in the gut, then goes for a couple more headshots, goes for a chop. Sean Valiant just taking his day out on Chaos Jester. Then he goes to throw Chaos in the corner and goes for a flying knee straight to Chaos's face. Unfortunately, to Sean, he threw Chaos in the wrong corner. Damian Blackwell tags in on Chaos and immediately runs in, grabs Sean Valiant by the neck and says, "All right, we're done with this." And I believe it's a choke slam. Picks him back up, says, "Come on, let's keep going." Gives him a nice suplex. Sean Valiant clearly not doing okay, laying there. Damian goes for the pin. 1, 2, and Sean Valiant kicks out. Damian picks him up and goes for something new. Goes for I think this, if Chris was here, he'd tell me this might be the guillotine choke. I might have spoke wrong earlier with a rear. It was a rear naked choke earlier. This is the guillotine choke. Damian Blackwell puts Sean Valiant in a guillotine choke and trying to make him tap. And Crow, seeing this, runs in, breaks it up, and tags himself in. Now it's Damian Blackwell and Aleister Crow in the center of the ring. Damian goes to pick up Damian by the arm, and Damian Blackwell fights out of it and gives Aleister Crow the guillotine choke, trying his best to get him to tap. Crow starts fading and then taps. He's tapping. The ref comes over and says, "Ring the bell." Crow's done. And Damian continues to hold on to Crow. He's not letting go. Still holding that guillotine choke. Jeremy, the ref, trying his best to get Damian off of Aleister Crow as he sits there motionless. Damian Blackwell looking at Aleister Crow, trying to make sense of everything that's been going on. You could tell just anger. Crow's put him through a lot of hell. Sean Valiant put him through a lot of hell. All for a belt. All for a belt. And Damian sits there holding his head, just kind of shaking it. Sean Valiant, unfortunately steps up because he wasn't done. Comes over, throws the ref out of the way, and starts laying in on Damian Blackwell. Gives him a shot to the back of the head, stomps him down in the corner. Chaos Jester comes in to defend Damian and grabs Sean, sets him up for the Chaos Theory. But Sean, being a little resilient, holds on. But Crow stands back up, fresh, a little revived, gets Sean out of the Chaos Theory. Chaos and Crow can start fighting, so much so that it gets out of the ring, and Chaos and Aleister Crow fight all the way to the back. At this point, Sean Valiant has walked over and grabbed the heavyweight title. Damian Blackwell turns around after trying to relax, sees Sean Valiant coming with the belt, ducks out of the way, and instead he hits the turnbuckles, turns back around, and is immediately met by Damian Blackwell's guillotine choke. And it's not long before Sean Valiant goes completely limp, and Damian will not let go of Sean Valiant. It takes the ref coming over and telling him the match is over. You need to let go of him. He pushes Sean Valiant over, grabs a hold of the heavyweight title and holds it high, saying, I'm coming for this belt next week. Because, as you know, the main event of From the Ashes is a triple threat between Damian Blackwell, Sean Valiant, and Chaos Jester, all for the heavyweight title. As Damian stands there holding the belt high, Chaos Jester comes back out and just looks at Damian. And the two stare down. But as the stare down is happening, Chaos puts on his mask. Little Chaos puts on his mask, and Damian Blackwell starts hitting his own head, starts shaking like he's losing his mind. He sets the belt down, and as him and Halo walk out of the arena, Damian Blackwell looks visibly upset. Chaos Jester grabs the heavyweight title, holds it high, and we end our show. What an amazing Thursday night throwdown to be a part of. Damian Blackwell holding the belt high, Chaos Jester holding the belt high, with Sean Valiant laying motionless in the center of the ring. You are not going to want to miss From the Ashes. I promise you that. Come out to 127 West MacArthur Drive, Cottage Hills, Illinois, 62018. Or subscribe to patreon.com/CHWA, the $4 Life tier, the $10 tier. That is the only time you are going to see From the Ashes. It's not coming here on YouTube like everything else. Our pay-per-views go to Patreon, and you are not going to want to miss this. Bayou Boys versus Bulletproof, Voodoo King versus Harlock, Vicious Victoria versus Sophia Sombra, P.T. Beckham and Damian Blade the Butcher versus Jeremy Lightfoot and a mystery partner. And your main event is going to be a triple threat between Sean Valiant, Damian Blackwell, and Chaos Jester. I cannot tell you how much this show is going to it's going to be insane. Do not miss it. Do not miss it. But with that being said, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment, tell us how you are enjoying the shows. Tell us what you want to see. Tell us everything that you want to know about this show, or who you want to see. But as for me, I've been ring announcer Dilly. I'll see you all Sunday at From the Ashes, because I'm out.